So, if you're a new Android developer, you've probably heard about it. There's this mandatory 2 week waiting period that stands between your brand new app and the rest of the world. In this explainer, we're going to dig into Google Play's pretty controversial 14-day testing requirement, what it is, how to get through it without pulling your hair out, and exactly why it has the developer community so fired up.
Okay, picture this. You've poured all those hours into coding, designing, and squashing every last bug. Your app is finally done. You're ready, the excitement is real, and you can almost taste that launch day's success. But yeah, hold on a second. Before your app can hit that global stage on the Google Play Store, there's a hurdle, a gatekeeper, if you will. There's a very specific set of rules you have to play by first.
So what's the deal? Well, it really just boils down to two key numbers. The first one, 12.
12 testers. That's the magic number of real people you need to have testing your app. And the second number? 14. Yep, 14 continuous days. They have to test it without any breaks whatsoever. 12 testers for 14 straight days. This is the new challenge that every single new developer is facing right now.
All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. Here's the official policy. If you created a personal developer account anytime after November 13th, 2023, you are required to run a closed test. And this means you need at least 12 testers opted in for a full, continuous 14-day period before you can even think about applying to go live.
You might be asking, why? Why did Google put this barrier in place? Well, from their point of view, it's pretty simple. It's all about quality control.
Okay, so Google's official line is that this whole thing is to, clean up the Play Store. It's designed to weed out all the spam and low-effort apps, make sure that new apps are actually stable and work for real people, and at the end of the day, protect all of us from potentially harmful software. Right, so understanding why they did it is one thing. But for you, the developer, the real question is how? How do you actually get through this thing without wasting a ton of precious time? Let's jump into the survival guide.
Listen up, because this quote from RevenueCat is maybe the most important thing to remember. So many developers lose weeks, literally weeks, because they don't get this. Your 14-day clock doesn't start when you think about testing. It starts only when your test is fully set up and active in the Play console.
And what's really clever here is the strategy this lays out. You should do this on day one, literally day one of your project. Go ahead. Create that closed test, upload any build. Seriously, it can be a Hello World app, it doesn't matter. Make your email list and shoot them that opt-in link right away. That gets the 14-day clock ticking while you're still working on the real app. Okay, but finding those 12 people, that can be the real headache. You can ask friends and family, sure, but they get busy, they forget. A much better strategy is to find other developers who are in the same boat and just trade testing with them. Communities on Reddit or special platforms can help too. But a huge warning here. Whatever you do, avoid services that use bots. That is a fast track to getting your entire developer account suspended. Seriously.
And this right here, this is where so many people mess up. It is not enough for 12 people to just install your app and forget about it. Google's system is smart. It's looking for signs of real usage. They need to open it more than once. And this is crucial. If even one tester opts out, your count can drop to 11, and you might have to start that 14-day clock all over again.
All right, so you made it. You survived the 14 days, your testers stuck with you. Time to hit publish, right? Well, not so fast. There's one last challenge, kind of like a final boss, the questionnaire. And you really, really don't want to mess this up. The stakes are super high. Because if your answers are too generic or vague, Google can just flat out reject your application. And the penalty? You guessed it, you might have to do the entire 14-day test all over again. No way. So how do you beat this final boss? The key, as you can see here, is all about being specific. You have to prove you actually ran a real test. When they ask how you found testers, don't just say friends. Say you sent direct invitations to early adopters. When they ask for feedback, detail the specific bugs they found, like issues with navigation, and then explain exactly what changes you made. This shows Google you took it seriously. So, okay, there's a path to get through this thing. It's doable, but the fact that this gate even exists, well, that has a lot of people in the developer community seriously upset.
This quote from a Reddit post that really blew up kind of says it all. A lot of independent developers feel this policy isn't just a pain, it's an actively harmful barrier that's hitting them, the solo devs, the hardest. And the complaints get really specific. I mean, why that date? Why November 13th? It feels totally arbitrary. It forces developers to share their big idea with a bunch of strangers before they can even launch, which is a huge risk for intellectual property theft. And if this is really about quality, why doesn't it apply to older accounts or big companies? Critics also point to Apple's App Store, which seems to do just fine without this exact requirement.
And you can see just how divided the community is. It's really split right down the middle. You've got developers who agree, saying the store is full of junk and that a real testing phase is a good solution. But then you have others who see it as a totally exclusionary policy from a company that just doesn't care about the little guy.
And all of this kind of brings us to the big question, the central conflict of this whole policy, really. What does this mean for the future of indie developers?
Look, at the end of the day, this 14-day gate is basically two things at once. On one hand, it's a practical problem, right? A checklist you have to complete, and there's a clear way to do it. But on the other hand, it's fueling this huge, passionate debate about fairness and who actually gets a chance to innovate on one of the biggest platforms in the world. Which leaves all of us with a really big question, right? Is this gate a much-needed filter to improve the quality of the App Store for all of us? Or is it an unfair wall that might be blocking the next great idea from a solo developer who's just trying to get started? The answer, it seems, really depends on which side of that gate you're standing on.